Sorry. Sorry, folks. We had a bit of a power outage. I had to go working down there. I had to crawl down under the desk. Apparently, there was some sort of end of the something happened out on the street. I think it might be a transformer or something like that. So we think it might be the deep state. We don't rightly know. But give us 1 second. We'll be back there with you. Hang on to yourself. Hang on to your butts. We'll be back there in just 1 second. I'll get Hal out here in just a minute. Those of you don't know me, I'm Glenn, and I work under the desk most of the time. Very far under the desk. Well below the Earth's crust. Okay, I think I'm fine. I think I'm all right. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so power went out. Just the whole thing, just patow. It all just went to sleep all at once. As a matter of fact, one of my lights didn't come back on. Although I will say, oddly enough, if I may, see if I can try to get this guy to. Hey, there it goes. That's it. Oh, lights back on. Look at that. Hey, all my lights are working again. I don't know what happened, but when the power went out, I went out, threw the breaker, and then came back in, waited for everything to restart. There was a update, and when it was happening, my ring light, which had died, and I had changed the plug on it and done all kinds of shit, and I was like, I guess I'm gonna have to get a new ring light. That one's screwed. Just came back on. Just came back. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was the kidney. Well, dude, we just don't know. So, hi, how are you? And chat room, hi, there you are. Sorry about that. I missed you. I was so scared. You were gone. You were there 1 second, and then you were all gone. The screen went to black, and you were gone. It was so very very sad. Where were we? Oh, we were looking at Marjorie Taylor Greene blathering about some bullshit. We can skip past that because there's a bunch of other stuff that I want to get to that I never got a chance to get to. Not the least. Well, we don't need that shit. We've heard the same stuff. And we also, this is stupid. Can we watch something that I think is hilarious? Yeah, because we haven't really done this in a while because there's been so much Trump shit lately, just him, that we haven't really checked in on the most miserable man on the internet, Greg Kelly. Adversity, the fuel of greatness. That's right. Donald Trump wouldn't be 1/16th the man I am if it wasn't for all the horrible shit. That he is, of course, that is what Greg thinks. If he hadn't had to go through all this terrible, 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 you know what I mean? Just terrible. It's terrible. It's just, I don't even know how to put it. I think you just got to say it's terrible. It's just awful. The whole thing's awful. That guy's not creepy at all. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing with that one. He's a friend of mine. These are some of Ficus's buddies that just hang out at the house. We don't know him at all. Yeah, don't lay them motherfuckers off on me. I don't know them. They just gave me a ride here. So, Greg Kelly, apparently, Greg Kelly has seen my show. There's no question about it. Greg Kelly has seen the clips that I've done about him. It upsets him. He's fairly miserable about it. It grinds him. Especially because I think he's slightly flattered that I bothered to even do an impersonation of him. But again, imitation is the sincerest form of mockery. Because you have to dedicate yourself a little bit, but he's pretty easy. All you got to do is look down, flick your tongue, and wave your hands around and talk shit. And just and it's pretty easy. Almost anybody. Go ahead, try it yourself. It's like you're a DJ that's been hit in the forehead with a 2x4 and you don't know where your records went. That's basically Greg Kelly. So here's Greg Kelly telling us that Trump has Democrats terrified. I tell you, we are terrified. Welcome back. Don't forget to hit like, by the way, because we lost our like and we basically started a new stream. So Yeah.
You're looking at illegal migrants arrive at a
Oh, God. Look at them. Military
New York City high
aged
school.
boys and girls.
You've seen this before.
Look at her. Oh, future terrorist. Jesus Christ. Look at her. She's a monster. They just haven't, she's hiding the fact that she's wearing a hijab because she's used to coming from a warmer climate, so she's wrapping a sweater around her head. And sure, she's trying to look like an adorable little girl who's just ready to get her learn on, but I know and you know, look at this one. Oh, he's like, oh, he could just tell. He's just gonna yell Allahu Akbar in Spanish or something. You could just tell. There it is. There it is. These monsters and their mom.
Right? It's been happening.
Oh, look at this lady. Look at that. She's following them around. She just walked in after her. She's going to tell everybody. She's 32-year-old woman's going to say she's 6 and trying to get an education.
All over the country.
Oh, terrible. They're going into schools?
Democrats overly generous with people who got here illegally, giving them shelter, giving them money, but
Jesus Christ. I mean, literally, Jesus Christ. What would Jesus Christ do? Clearly not what Greg would like.
I've never seen this before.
We've never seen this before. We absolutely have seen this before.
Because the students at this high school where they're arriving were all evicted. That is the James Madison High School in Brooklyn, New York.
Dems prioritize over youth education.
It's been around for 100 years.
And they couldn't mix with the Spanish-speaking kids, so they just kicked them all out.
Chuck Schumer, 3 Supreme Court justices graduated from that school.
And which is obviously, what a terrible thing to do, send these migrants to that school where they might learn to become equally great Americans.
And the students have been told, on a Tuesday morning they were told.
On a Tuesday morning.
You cannot come back. We are letting in 2,000 illegal migrants. You'll do your learning remotely, like during COVID. Yeah, Zoom calls and Skype and that stuff. This is a total shocker. A lot of kind of surprised and even shocked.
Gee, it's almost like it's cold outside, and the alternative was to let these people freeze to death.
All of us with the migrant crisis, giving up the border. But this is happening in my backyard, by the way. And
who literally says NIMBY?
Wow.
I mean, kids don't understand this. The lesson you want to teach children is better to let them freeze to death.
2,000 students.
Well, I mean, they would have had a regular place to be that wouldn't be in danger of freezing if they hadn't been bussed up from Texas.
Actually, I'm sorry, 3,400 students attend that school, being replaced by 2,000 migrants who will make it their home, perhaps permanently.
Yes, perhaps permanently. Yes, that's clearly it. Come to America, live in a school. Okay. Do you think that's going to pan out when we look it up? Okay, what was the name of the school again? Let's back the fuck up. Let me, if I may.
Schumer, all evicted. For the country, Democrats overly generous with people who got here illegally, giving them shelter, giving them money. But I've never seen this before, because the students at this high school where they're arriving were all evicted. That is the James.
And by the way, there were children living in this school?
James Madison High School.
Okay, hold on. James Madison High School. Well, let's check it out. Hold on one second. James Madison High School. Oh, this is a story. Was it? Yeah, it's just shelters migrants, prompts. This is New York. Okay. Well, I guess I don't know why we'd all be surprised at this, ladies and gentlemen. A school sheltered migrants in a storm. The hate calls poured in. It's nice to know that Greg Kelly is doing his part. Shall we? Let's dig in. Migrant families were evacuated to the auditorium of James Madison High School. School went remote the next day, and families and elected officials protested. There they are. An angry backlash erupted at Brooklyn High School on Wednesday after New York City officials housed about 500 migrant families in an auditorium there overnight because heavy rains and fierce winds at their shelter site. About 2,000 people were evacuated on Tuesday evening from their tent shelter at a remote former airplane runway in Brooklyn to James Madison High School. Families with children piled onto the floor and into the auditorium seats to sleep. By 2 a.m., several families said they were asked to prepare to return to the tents. The evacuation led officials to call a remote day of classes a remote day of classes. For more than 3,400 students enrolled at the high school, sparking immediate backlash from politicians and parents that echoed a national stage. Local elected leaders, right-leaning media personalities, and even Elon Musk weighed in to criticize the governor's response. The outrage was latest political eruption. A fucking day. The rain was coming down so heavily, they moved them out of tents because there are children this size. These kids, whole families together, by the way, families together. And they were simply allowed to sleep in the auditorium. They weren't moved into the fucking classes. They didn't, geez, what the fuck? One fucking day.
In Brooklyn, New York. It's been around for 100 years.
And now it's had one day of migrants in the auditorium. What kind of...
Chuck Schumer, 3 Supreme Court justices...
I'm going to guess, Chuck Schumer aside, I'm going to guess the 3 Supreme Court justices sided with the law that would allow something like this to happen rather than to have, I don't know, children get pneumonia, drown, or die.
Graduated from that school. And the students have been told, on a Tuesday morning, they were told, you cannot come back.
No, they weren't. They had one day caused by inclement weather, you would say, and not technically speaking at that school, but caused elsewhere in the area that led those people to stay in there, which gave the kids basically a snow day. One day. One fucking day.
We are letting in 2,000 illegal migrants. You'll do your learning remotely, like
for one day of COVID. It's like a COVID holiday.
like during COVID.
Yeah, exactly like COVID. Only it's one day, and you don't have to mask, and you could go shopping, and stores are open, and your parents have a job.
Yeah, Zoom calls and Skype and that stuff.
Yeah, that stuff. Except for it being one day. You're an
asshole.
Something like that
Is a total shocker. A lot of kind of surprised and even shocked all of us with the migrant crisis, giving up the border. But
we didn't give up.
This is happening in my backyard, by the way, and wow, 2,000.
Hold on. First of all, I find it very troubling that you can live within 500 yards of a school. Secondly, if that giant place is in your backyard, what the fuck does your front yard look like?
2,000 students gone. Actually,
gone. They're dead. We've sold them to Mexico. Actually, we're using them to make the wall. That's how we're gonna scare off the caravans. It's just the staked up bodies of our own citizens.
I'm sorry, 3,400 students attend that school.
Yeah, and you know what? They still do.
Being replaced by 2,000 migrants who will make it their home, perhaps permanently.
No. Overnight.
There's no indication when the students will be allowed back into school.
Yes, there is. The indication would be that by 2 a.m., the families were told to get ready to go back to the tent city.
You do your learning at home via Zoom, and the migrants will are taking over the school.
No, they're not taking over the school. They are under a solid roof during a rainstorm as opposed to being in a tent.
Just
because they have small children. Yeah, I don't know. Is it me, or does this would a regular Christian think of this as an opportune time to show so much compassion towards these folks that they either graciously became American citizens and contributed to the overall structure to the point where they might even be on your side of not just letting randos into the country, for example, or that they might take that and go, hey, there's no reason why we can't have this in our own country. I'm going back home to try and lead a revolution and being a good human. Ah, fuck you.
I think this week we saw Mayorkas say that no one here is breaking the law. With all of these fiascos, constant.
No. Play that. Play him saying no one here is breaking the law.
Constant. I know the law is being broken. This man is a liar.
Some have accused DHS of not enforcing our nation's laws.
Okay, not the immigrants. The immigrants are in some cases maybe breaking the law, but you won't know until you have a hearing about it whether they deserve asylum or not. And when the Trump administration denied so many people, who had asylum claims, just blanketly denied them, you have to adjudicate these folks, or you're breaking the law.
This could not be further from the truth.
Not further. All right, let me see those migrants. You're telling me there's not one law somewhere that can prevent this situation?
No. First of all, there's a very strong possibility that these were the folks that were sent up by Greg Abbott away from an area where we put a lot of federal dollars into creating a substructure to deal with migrants and to deal with the asylum seekers. And that's very close to the border. When you send them to other places that don't have that, then they have to scramble because they don't get all the fucking federal money that these states do, that New Mexico and fucking Arizona and Texas do, and California. So since they don't get that, they're not prepared for it. And so they have to scramble when this shit happens. So if there's a law being broken, it's the Abbott, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, just sending randos to states that don't have the structure to deal with it.
There isn't. They ought to pass one.
And by the way, we have immigration funding specifically for states like New York. And it has mostly to do with their fucking airports, because that's how most people try to enter the United States illegally in New York. We put a shit ton of money into the immigration and the visa programs there, and the screening programs there, and the electronic surveillance and all that shit at LaGuardia and JFK, because tons of flights, international flights, come into the country that way. And so that's how that money is fucking spent. Here's a good idea. How about you guys check out your own airports down in Texas?
Now, in 2 minutes. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it's happening.
Well, that's because you're stupid. You're conflating what he said about the Customs and Border Patrol, for example, or people that work in Immigration Naturalization Services or in his office, versus people who have snuck into the country because they don't think they have an option.
Illegal migrants taking over a high school.
They're not taking over the high school. They're sleeping in the fucking auditorium overnight until the rain stops.
3,400 plus students told to go home. You're going to
for the day
learn on a computer.
For the day.
This is America.
Yeah, this is America. If it was, Jesus Christ, if we were Guatemala, we just keep them in the tent and set fire to it? What the fuck are you asking for?
In 2024. Wow.
Wow. I mean, honestly, imagine in the old days when we could have kept them in a church.
Wow.
Wow. Say fucking hell. God damn it. Say wow again, you dumb motherfucker. Say wow again. What are you, Wendy O. Williams, asshole? Say wow again.
Now, we have some incompetent people in New York who came up.
Yes, you live there. We know. You just said it's in your backyard. We know. You live in New York.
Up with this plan. Actually, was encouraging it all along. Eric Adams, the goofiest guy in the world.
Excuse me. He's not even close to taking your title, Greg. You are a goofy motherfucker. None of us understand how you host a show. Half the time you're looking down. The tongue jutting is very bizarre. You don't seem to know what you're talking about ever, even when it's stuff you're passionate about. How the fuck does that work? How do you know nothing about shit it seems like you grind on daily? That's amazing to me. Like, you could accidentally stumble on more details than you have about a subject that you apparently just think about 24/7.
Just loves press conferences. Does not
He's the mayor.
know how to govern. Isn't even good at politics, but he's
But he became the mayor of New York, of the city you live
going to
in.
get a lot of attention in the days ahead.
He's let me put it this way, Greg. He's better at being mayor than you are at riding buses. How about that?
And that's what he wants. We'll have more on this fiasco.
Yeah, and when Greg Kelly says moron, he means it.
Later in the show. Man, oh man, oh man.
Okay, at least he didn't say wow again.
All right, but there is this, and perhaps
But there is this. There was nothing there, but maybe there's something here.
it'll give me some solace. Adversity,
Yes, this will give you solace.
it fuels greatness. You've heard.
It totally does. Yes, that's right. Trump's problem so far and why he's such a weak, whiny, snowflake piece of shit is because he's lived a life of comfort this whole time. And now he's all of a sudden, he's experiencing some real comeuppance, and it's making him a man after all these years.
Heard that before. It's actually in the Bible.
Is it?
And a great example of it is what Donald Trump has gone through. And, well,
What was he gone through? What you mean, the Vietnam War? I mean, the AIDS crisis, which he said was his personal Vietnam. What's he gone through? Not enough parties with Jeffrey Epstein? Not enough rides on his airplane? Where are Trump's flight logs?
benefits of the test. You've
The test? This motherfucker doesn't pass tests. Any test he's ever passed, he paid somebody to take for him.
seen the latest polls, right? He is, let's see, 63% in Iowa.
Uh-huh. In the caucus state. Yeah, show New Hampshire.
40 points above second
Yeah.
place Ron DeSantis, tied with Nikki Haley.
He got 98% in the last of Republican votes in the last election. He's lost a third of Iowans. He's lost over half of New Hampshireites.
Consider that when you realize, again, that Donald Trump was in court today. He was in court. He showed up for an appellate.
Yeah, that doesn't say anything about him. That just means that Republicans are desperate, cult-like sycophants who have basically thrown all their Christian values and their family values and all that shit they talk for years out a fucking window to continue to back a pussy-grabbing criminal.
Hearing this whole thing is, well, ludicrous, as you know, but imagine these results. Did the Democrats ever in a million years think this would happen?
Yeah, we recognize that the Republican Party that Trump wasn't a total aberration. Yeah, you do recognize that, right? You do recognize that he's so weak. Hold on one second. That unless the party was all in on that shit, he never would have been elected. None of us are surprised.
No. They thought we'd take one look at those courtroom sketches that we've been seeing now for almost a year.
Why would, and what?
And be horrified.
Jesus Christ. If you're not horrified of the pictures of this man, why the shit would I think the drawings would do anything? Good Lord. You guys spank it to his nunt. And you think, like, these pencil sketches that look like they're from the Electric Company in 1977 are going to change any hearts and minds?
Horrified.
Or what's left of them?
Oh my gosh, he looks like a, well, you only see criminals sketched like that.
No, you don't. You see judges and witnesses and stenographers and jury members and attorneys. Anybody who's in the courtroom gets that kind of a drawing. Nobody's like saying, "Oh my God, his attorney looks like a criminal just because he's been pencil sketched." What the fuck? Does Greg Kelly sit there and like one of those people who draw you in Times Square? They hand him the drawing. You're like, "You made me look like a criminal." What are you talking about? What's all pencil? Right.
Know who he is. This doesn't faze us anymore.
Right. You never had any morals to start with. We get it. Yeah. Asshole, you knew he hung out with Jeffrey Epstein before you voted for him. What, you think we're surprised that you don't give a shit? That was our entire point in 2015 and 2016.
I'll tell you who it does faze. The Democrats. This plan of theirs has disintegrated. They are terrified, aren't they?
Are they? Wait, hold on. CNN, July of 2023.
President Trump is going to find himself in and out of the courtroom throughout the political season here for the running up to the election.
Once these trials really heat up, when we come in the spring, Donald Trump will be too distracted to take on Joe Biden.
The beginning of next year will be very busy for Trump, who is campaigning while facing all of this legal trouble.
This is a person who is very distracted by these legal cases.
I think he's going to spend more time in courtrooms next year than on the campaign trail.
So far, that is the case.
And
by the way, dickhead, back the fuck up. Hold on. What were you promised in that video? I was promised Democrats who are afraid, weren't you? Listen how he directed this.
he is. This doesn't faze us anymore.
Doesn't faze Republicans, but what this is his lead in to the video we just watched.
I'll tell you who it does faze.
Who's phased? Let's see who's phased.
The Democrats.
Oh, the Democrats. How do they feel about it?
This plan of theirs has disintegrated.
Oh, it's disintegrated. It's terrible.
They are terrified, aren't
They're terrified. And let me show you video of last summer where they're all like, yeah, this is going to be a lot for him to deal with, and it's going to be very hard to campaign when you're in court and whatever. You're going to spend more time in court than on the campaign trail. And he has. And none of them are scared. All of them are like, yeah, this is fucked up. Like, this would be a tough one. This would be hard to do.
aren't they?
Aren't they? That was, we all watched the video, so I'll just skip past it, if I may.
Not be a viable president for candidate. That poll.
Hold on. A viable president for candidate? You mean a viable candidate for president?
This all last year, Donald Trump will not be a viable president for candidate.
I agree. He won't be a viable president for candidate. You know, because you got to preside over being a candidate before you can, candy coat your presidency.
Poll one more time. 40 points on top.
Yeah. Over his fellow assholes, which you and everybody on your network have attacked. By the way, both of these fuckers who are in second and third place, and this is shuffled around a bit, whatever, he takes responsibility for promoting both of them. Ron DeSantis wouldn't be governor of Florida without his endorsement. That's what he said, right? And she would not have had her position in the administration if he hadn't chose her to do it. If he'd have just let them be, not touched them, just stayed away from them, just did his fucking job, he wouldn't have his two biggest contenders having a toehold anywhere near him.
What will they pull next? Because they're going to have to try to pull something. I mean,
why? Why? He's got 91 charges and 4 indictments. Why? What else do we fucking need? He's making his own problems.
the Democrats winning things legitimately, just the good old-fashioned way. They're going to.
What?
I kind of love it. Don't you?
It's the Republican Iowa caucus. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, their plans haven't worked. Now.
No. First of all, you're assuming that our plan involves him not being the candidate when quite frankly, he's the dude to run against. You want to re-up this battle? Trump eats shit even worse. These guys, all 12% of this is 12% of the Republican voting bloc. If they're voting for Ron DeSantis, they're never voting for this motherfucker. If they're voting for Nikki Haley, they're never voting for this motherfucker. If they were in, Chris Christie just dropped out. He's going to throw his weight, no pun intended, behind one of these. More than likely, it'll be Nikki Haley, right? Those folks are never going to vote for Donald Trump. There is no fucking way that a 10 to 12% of Republican voters aren't going to vote for this motherfucker. In the general. That is, what the fuck?
Got to talk about what happened today in court. He was there to talk about, well, the issue of presidential immunity.
No, he was there to listen.
He didn't do any speaking, but his lawyers did.
Right, so he wasn't there to talk about it.
And they made a great case about this.
Did they?
So I have to boil it down for me. So
in idiot terms?
So I can understand it, because
you're stupid?
They start talking in court about these constitutional issues, it gets very confusing, very, very.
No, it doesn't. I got to say, I listened to the whole argument. Anybody else in the chat room? Hey, chat room. Did you guys listen to the arguments? Because I did. It was fascinating. I got to say, like, it was pretty fucking easy to follow. As a matter of fact, it was hilariously bad. The Trump's lawyers' arguments were absolute ass. It didn't take much translation. You were like, because even the judges were like, let me run you through a scenario and see if this would be plausible if you got what you're seeking here. And they were like, well, a qualified yes. All right, I'm going to take that as a no.
Early. Here's
yeah, so
a taste of that, actually.
A taste of it. What is this supposed to be confusing?
Right there in it, it says most separation of powers claims.
Also, did John Sauer just like lose his voice screaming at his wife and kids? Why is the primary on this? I mean, good Lord.
May not be subject to interlocutory review, but there are some that may. And then it goes on to say presidential immunity arising from the separation of powers, citing Clinton against Jones. So Cisneros, I think, expressly contemplates that there be interlocutory jurisdiction in this sort of claim. And that's further reinforced by the court's subsequent decisions in Rose and Rostentowski.
All right, what are they talking about? Wow.
Okay, sorry, I was working on something while he said that. Run that by me again, dickhead. Hold on.
Against Jones. So Cisneros, I think, expressly contemplates that there be interlocutory jurisdiction in this sort of claim. And that's further reinforced by the court's subsequent decisions in Rose and Rostentowski.
Oh, yeah, this is the part where they're saying that they were arguing that venue particularly should be a part of the reason why it's immunity, because it's in DC, and these other charges, like him doing something in Georgia while he's president, you can't take something he did in Georgia and remove it from the fact that he's in DC acting as president. There aren't separate venues when you're president, because the whole country is because they ain't but 10,000 cops in the whole town. Can you dig it? That's what he's basically.
All right, what are they talking about?
I didn't get this job because of my fucking brains.
Wow, Rostentowski, that guy, it gets very convoluted, and they start talking about Griswold versus Honeywell versus stuff from a long time ago. But
yeah, a long time ago.
I stayed with it, and it is about presidential immunity.
Did you get a nosebleed?
And it kind of goes like this regarding presidential immunity. Let's say it's, well, let's go back to 9/11, September.
Yeah, let's go back to 9/11.
11th. America is under attack.
Totally. America's under attack. That's absolutely right.
Right? Now, President Bush, you'll remember, was on the phone. And at one point, it was actually kind of late, but at one point, I believe he gave the go-ahead. If you have to do it, take down civilian airliners. That word actually may have come from Vice President Cheney, but let's say it came from Bush. And let's say they
let's just say that
did shoot down an airliner that wasn't hijacked and innocent people were killed and maybe people on the ground. You couldn't sue President Bush.
Right, because he did not target the innocent people on that plane. He targeted a plane that had been taken over by the enemy, even though they had innocent lives on it, because he had to make a trolley decision. He had to make the trolley car decision. The trolley is going down the hill and it cannot be stopped. You can only pull the lever and make it go right or left. On the right, there's one person, and on the left, there's 8 people. And if you pull it to the right, one innocent person dies, and if you pull it to the left, 8 innocent people die. That's the trolley argument. That's what presidents deal with all the time. This has nothing to do with it. No one was like, it was, I got to argue, like, you're better off arguing that what if Bush had, instead of 9/11, not his 9/11 was Bush v. Gore, and he had suggested that they waterboard Democratic voters to see if they actually voted for him or Gore. That is a more direct analogy, you fucking putz.
You couldn't even arrest him. And
yes, because he had given, like, I don't even know how he phrased it. Well, listen to how he phrased it again. Look back up.
Gave the go-ahead.
Sorry.
Is under a point. It was actually kind of late, but at one point, I believe he gave the go-ahead. If you have to do it.
Yeah, that would be the part that would probably get him out of jail. That would be the part, if you have to do it. So you would be in court going, have to. What does have to mean? Well, it's a plane full of people, but they're aiming it at an even bigger building or a neighborhood or a government facility or the White House or something like that strategically would give terrorists a toehold, and therefore the weight of dealing with it, and we have no way of knowing if the people are actually on the plane, if they're alive or dead, all that kind of stuff. Well, we definitely know the people on the ground are alive, so therefore we have to make this call. It's a terrible call to make. The if you have to do it part kind of is the distinct version of what this. So here's wait, okay. What if, I'm floating this way, if George Bush was on the phone and he went, fellas, I just need 3 planes to hit the 2 planes, which is 1 more than we need. Just find me 3 planes to crash into the 2 planes that are still in the air, and help me out, fellas. That's all I need. Because we won the war on terror. If he'd have said, if you want to, versus you have to.
Take down.
And by the way, it didn't happen.
Civilian airliners. That word actually may have come from Vice President Cheney, but let's say it came from Bush. And let's say they did shoot down an airliner that.
Because they had to.
Wasn't hijacked, and.
Because they believed they had to. They found out later it wasn't hijacked, which I don't know how the fuck. They were grounding all the flights. How do they shoot down one that hadn't been hijacked? What do you think? They're just going to shoot down anything that's in the air at all? Every civilian aircraft was a fucking target that day. Let's just, while you're at it, why don't you just say while there were children waving out the windows and holding up Bibles? It was a plane with Jesus painted on the side of it. It was a Greyhound bus with wings.
Innocent people were killed, and maybe people on the ground.
Well, obviously, because the point of shooting it down when you did is to make sure it lands on people on the ground. What the fuck? What? Can you at least, all right, can you at least try to make the analogy make sense? To make that your hypothetical is at least in the fucking ballpark of the fellas. I need 11,780 votes. Find them for me. I got it. Come on, help me out here. Shit. I know there was theft. How do I know? I'm the president of the United States. How do I know those votes are for the fake votes are Biden's votes and not mine? Fuck. I'll fax you something right over. You did a what? A recount? Stop the count. Stop the count. Fucking stop the count. No, you can't do a recount. You've what? 300 more Biden votes that you didn't know were. God damn it. Who jammed up the fax machine again?
Couldn't sue President Bush.
Right, because he gave an order based on if you have to, and in this ridiculous, fucked up, ignorant bullshit analogy, they shot down a passenger plane that they didn't have to because they made a mistake.
You couldn't.
Unless, of course, he was like, if you have to. And apparently, according to Greg Kelly, American pilots just feel like they have to shoot down civilian aircraft.
Even arrest him. And I don't think that would be arrestable, but some
No, it would.
people out there might make that case. No, he
Right, but it would never reach a court of law because if it did, they would go, yeah, the president said, here's the transcript of the call. We keep transcripts of those kind of calls. That's how you know he said that on that day. And he said, if you have to. And the pilot, repeatedly talking to the plane in the tower and that kind of stuff, believed the plane to be hijacked and therefore fired upon it, did not willingly do it, and committed suicide because he's so fucking tortured.
has a certain degree of immunity because
He wouldn't have immunity if he said, hey, fellas, find me an airline, an airliner full of civilians to kill. When he knew it hadn't been hijacked. But he told everybody afterwards, I totally believe that was hijacked. I thought it was hijacked. Many good people, a lot of people said it was hijacked. A lot of people, and everybody's like, nah, it wasn't fucking hijacked. The pilot said it wasn't hijacked. And you were like, fire right now. And you're like, I have to follow these orders. And then he overrode the firing mechanism on the plane from the Pentagon, pushed his Joint Chiefs of Staff and pushed this button that made the missiles fire on the fucking plane and blew this airliner out of the sky. You want an analogy, motherfucker? I'll give you one.
it was an official presidential act. There are people throughout the government who have immunity. The Pentagon, if you join the military, if you sign up, they're going to make you sign a piece of paper that says you cannot sue the military. You can't sue the government.
Right, because you're following orders to go someplace. You can't sue because you were sent someplace that got your leg blown off. That's the point. The fact that they have to is just weird.
I mean, if something goes wrong, they'll give you a nice life insurance policy, but
right, they have something because of that. But also, by the way, in certain cases, and it's not really good that you bring this up, Greg, because you're a fucking moron. I'll give you a great example of how that didn't quite work out and how it required an intervention of Congress and this president to remedy it. Burn pits. That's right. You couldn't sue over that. So there had to be a legislative remedy to fix that. It doesn't mean you just have to take it. There's just other remedies. Plus, there's a front-loaded remedy just in case. Yeah, even post-Agent Orange. Exactly.
You can't sue it. So
you can't sue it.
Like the Secretary of Defense, in a weird way, has a certain amount of immunity.
No, he doesn't. He does not. If he illegally ordered soldiers into a situation and got them killed, he'd go to jail for it. You just can't sue the military necessarily for what he did if he had clearance or he had been given that power by somebody who put him in charge, which is why you don't want people like Esper and other, Trumpians in charge of shit.
Okay?
No, not okay. This is a dumb analogy.
All right. Now they say
all right.
President Trump doesn't because he committed the crime. I don't believe that, but and then they took it to an absurd level. Here's one of the judges, the appellate judges, questioning Trump's lead appellate attorney.
Could a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first. And
so your answer is no.
My answer is qualified yes. There's a political process that would have to occur under the structure of our Constitution.
By the way, these assholes also believe that you can't be impeached after you've left office. So if you just do it and then resign, you'll never see a consequence from it. So you could do something, criminally. You could have SEAL Team 6 kill your biggest business rival, resign, and then have, monopolize an industry, essentially.
Which would require impeachment and conviction by the Senate.
Or help a foreign power that would, set you up for life.
Okay, SEAL Team 6. He got boxed in there, all right? And the other side took advantage of it. If Donald Trump ordered...
He didn't get boxed in. It's a reasonable question. You have to ask the ad infinitum because you're creating a slippery slope possibility, and the slope doesn't even have to be that fucking slippery. The mild incline of it leads to absolute horror.
SEAL Team 6 to kill somebody, a political rival, yeah, he'd be in trouble. I get that.
No, he wouldn't. And again, what the fuck do you mean in trouble? According to Trump's lawyer, he can't be charged.
What kind of world are we living in if, as I understood my friend on the other side to say here, a president orders his SEAL team to assassinate a political rival and resigns, for example, before an impeachment?
Right.
Not a criminal act. President sells a pardon, resigns, or is not impeached? Not a crime. I think that is...
By the way, literally, as long as he buries the crime deep enough so that it's not found until after he gets out of office. And how many like murders and other stuff go unsolved for more than 8 years, for example? As long as you bury it far enough, if you just leave office at the end of 8 years and then suddenly they realize you're the person who murdered these people and you're like, yeah, but I did it while I was president, so you can't really do shit. I pardon myself also.
Extraordinarily frightening future.
The Trump guy had a pretty good comeback for this.
Trump guy?
The frightening future that he alleges, where presidents are very, very seldom, if ever, prosecuted because they have to be impeached and convicted first, is the one we've lived under for the last 235 years. That's not a frightening future. That's our republic. What he is forecasting is a
No. What this guy is arguing for is that there are no criminal liabilities unless they're impeached first, no matter what. Even if what they did was a violation of the Constitution, even if what they did was categorically not part of their time in office, was not part of their presidential duties, they have blanket immunity for anything they did while president. Period. End of story. We have not lived under that at all. By the way, it's one of the reasons why after Nixon resigned, Ford had to pardon him. That was the system. Just because you resign and you weren't impeached and convicted, and you can't be impeached and convicted according to these assholes after you're no longer in office, unless you're holding office, you can't be impeached and convicted because you're not there anymore. You're no longer a federal employee. You can't get another bite at the apple. So the fact that Nixon resigned, Ford still had to pardon him.
situation where the floodgates will be opened. We are in a situation where we have the prosecution of the chief political opponent who's winning in every poll.
Okay, this is Trump handing him notes.
All right, let me
that's a terrible argument.
address this whole SEAL Team 6 thing because
yeah, tell us about it, because
it's getting a lot of attention and it's
oh boy
nonsense. We all know the SEALs, right? The Navy SEALs. The Navy SEALs, they're pretty good. Just ask them.
Jeez, fuck you, buddy. They're good no matter who you ask.
Yeah, those guys. They get to wear their own uniforms. I love the SEALs. They're
yeah, I can tell.
They're friendly rivals of the Marine Corps at times. Of course, SEAL Team 6, they got Bin Laden, right? And that was totally, totally awesome.
Totally awesome and excellent. It's also fucking dangerous, and they put their lives on the line, and a bunch of them almost died because one of their helicopters wouldn't take off, and the yard was mined and all kinds of horse shit that they had to go through. But also uniforms. Tell us about their uniforms again.
Now, let's pretend for a moment that Donald Trump ordered SEAL Team 6 to kill Rosie O'Donnell. All right.
Yeah. Not a political rival, but okay.
Right.
Just a random U.S. citizen.
It's ludicrous, of course. You know it's ludicrous. I know it's ludicrous.
Yeah, but it's a Greg Kelly analogy, so of course it's going to be ludicrous.
That would never happen. And even if it did, well, you could actually prosecute a president for doing that because it would be outside of the line of duty. It would not be an official act.
No, stupid. His attorney was arguing that anything that he does by giving an order to someone else, when they carry it out, it is part of his official duties. If the weird part is that technically speaking, they never really addressed it, but he could obviously pardon himself and resign, and this would all be part of it. But he could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue, that argument, himself, and there could be a potential for prosecution. But anytime he directs someone else to do it, it immediately becomes part of his work as president and an official act. And let me tell you, in this scenario, SEAL Team 6 does not know who they're killing. The idea is that you get a spotter that keeps an eye on Rosie O'Donnell. You wait till it's winter. She's walking around in snow clothes, right? She's leaving a building. There's a car waiting for her. The SEAL team or whoever, the sniper team that is going to take her out, has no idea who she is. She's just the target. And the person who's watching her does not know they're watching her on behalf of SEAL Team 6, right? That's the sniper team. And so she walks out of a building completely bundled up in clothes that do not show who she is, and they just go, in the yellow jacket, that's who it is. That's the target. Go, go, go. And they shoot this woman in the head and she dies. And it's fucking Rosie O'Donnell. And the sniper team goes, holy fuck, we've just been ordered to kill her by the president, and it's his. And then he calls you and he goes, you're either going to keep your fucking mouth shut or you'll end up in a ditch because I can order other people to kill you, or you just disappear yourself. You're sent on a fucking helicopter mission and your helicopter goes down, and that's the last we hear. Like, seriously. That's how that would play out. This in his stupid fucking kill Rosie O'Donnell analogy. The people who are killing her have no idea that they're killing her. They just know they're killing a target. That's it. The people who are watching her have no idea that they're spotting her for a killer. That's how you do it. And in this scenario, the president could get away with it because he ordered both of those people, one the spotter team and the sniper team, to do a job that they carried out, even though the job was illegal. They had no idea. Through his actions, because it was an official action, he cannot be tried. And even if it was found to be murder, even if it was found to be illegal, if they didn't impeach him first, if it wasn't found out that, oh my fucking God, remember when somebody shot Rosie O'Donnell and murdered her and that kind of stuff, and nobody could figure out who it was? Turns out Trump ordered the hit, but it was 3 years ago. He's no longer in fucking office and nobody can charge him. He just assassinated a U.S. citizen on the street, and because he wasn't impeached and convicted for it, and you can't impeach him because he's no longer in office, he gets away with it. That's how fucking stupid the Trump argument is. It's fucking horrifying.
Go to the White House website. They have an official job description for the President of the United States. Under Article 2 of the Constitution, the President is responsible for the execution and enforcement of the laws created by Congress, okay? Donald Trump executing, say, Rosie O'Donnell, nobody is contending that would fall within his official acts as president, okay?
Wouldn't matter. What they're arguing is that if he carries it out through anyone else, that becomes an official act automatically. If anyone but him carries it out. And weirdly enough, in Georgia, he made the fucking phone call himself. But the rest of the shit with the other people involved is an extension of that. That he was using a White House phone is essentially what makes it an official act and not a campaign phone. He didn't call him on the campaign cell phone. He called him from the Oval Office. That's what they think the distinction is. But again, for the execution and enforcement of the laws created by Congress, if the president, under the war on terror, for example, considers someone a threat to national security because they are one of the people who is undermining our country and is therefore going to, subvert the vote or something like that, then he could absolutely, in his own judgment, in the war on terror, assassinate a U.S. citizen on American soil using that argument. It's just fucking dumb. Like that, and it's never going to happen. But let me be abundantly clear. Let me be abundantly fucking clear. None of that shit is ever going to happen. And the other thing is, you are, and I think this is very, very important, you are never going to hear a Democrat argue for those kind of rights. You're not going to hear us arguing for enhanced interrogation. You're not going to argue with us. Hold on. Oh, there's something over here. Hold on. I'll check in 1 second. There it is. Beg your pardon. Right? You're not going to hear in any case. Archive. Hold on. What am I missing? Oh, yeah. There's the yeah. Here you go. Meanwhile, here's Trump's attitude about his own personal view of the law.
My people are so smart. And you know what else they say about my people? The polls. They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
Except for the person that lined up for you to shoot them. Obviously, dead people can't vote, I guess. Well, some of yours did. So, remember that guy who murdered his wife and then used her vote? So, the only person that we legally know, the only dead person we know legally voted, or their vote went through anyways, in the 2020 election cycle, voted for Donald Trump because this guy killed his wife and used her ballot to vote for Trump.
No, they say, Trump, we love you too, man. Trump's voters are by far, I'm at 68, 69%. I'm at 90% total.
Right, and that went away.
Will you stay? Absolutely. I think it's 68 or 69%. Will you most likely stay? That gets into the 90s. Other guys are like at 10. A guy like Jeb Bush, he has a nobody, but he's like they don't have people. They have nothing. Rubio, soft. They're all soft. All soft. My people stay. By the way, Cruz, soft.
Yeah. Don't even ask about his wife. And by the way, can I just say, this is Sioux City, Iowa, January 23rd, 2016. This was a much bigger gathering than the ones he's been having lately. I would just like to say this old footage. I mean, this is pretty stark. Yeah, the higher energy, absolutely. Wide awake. It's interesting. Should we go to here, let me look up something real quick. I want to go back to you guys. Let's see. Let's go to here we go. Trump, Iowa. Yeah, there you go. Just do something in here. This is him.
Well, thank you
now.
very much. I want to tell you that was a hell of a trip.
Hold on.
A miracle happens at 3:02 in the morning. They found another 1 million ballots. So we've got very good people. I'll tell you, we have a great group of people, and we had that was China virus territory, and a lot of people were afraid to come out, like security, and a lot of people, they were afraid. Nobody knew what was going on, but
you were president, and they were afraid to come out because nobody knew what was going on. Terrific. I can't imagine why these people wouldn't want to vote for you again.
we have good people. I can't imagine it would be possible. They're going to try. They have all their A-team out. That's the only thing they do well, actually. They cheat and also misinformation. They say, we really want to run against Trump. Well, how did that work out for Hillary? Not too good.
Yeah, but that was, for the record, by the way, you were an unknown entity, and it was this Donald Trump.
And remember last time...
Hold on. Let's hear. Yeah.
...of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. No, they say, Trump, we love you too, man. Trump's voters are by far, I'm at 68.
I gotta say, you know how we always talk about how people age, in the presidency? And it seemed like for a while, and maybe it was just because we were all in it like a frog in boiling water, it seemed like Trump dodged that kind of Reagan-esque wise for a while anyways. That he kind of stayed in that zone of just kind of like manic and loud, and he kept his hair dyed, fucking, I don't know, whatever that, like burnt toast color.
We did much better than we did in 2016. We got like 12 million more votes, right? Mm-hmm. We got more votes than any sitting president in history. And we lost to a guy that never left his basement. He didn't get 80 million votes. He didn't get 80 million votes.
No, he got 81.
And they have a big enthusiasm problem now.
Yeah, they do. I hear that some people won't even put like proud Biden voter anywhere near their name.
It was interesting, speaking of that, so I left the hotel this morning here.
Great story.
And they said, sir, Nikki Haley's going to have a very big protest outside.
Oh, this is the whole, like, there's one person out there.
So I figured I'm going to walk down.
Also, he told this story like 4 times. And this time he was like, she was going to have a protest against him outside, and there was one person there. And then later on, it was like a rally or a meetup, and there was one person there. And the idea that that one person was there for her, and not that he only had one person show up because they wanted to meet him, is fucking weird. Like, he's like, I went outside and they said there was going to be a bunch of Haley people there. And when I went outside, I walked outside and nobody was there. Like, nobody came up to me. Nobody said hello. There was like, there wasn't anybody. Like, was she, maybe she was already having it and her people were already in there? Or my question is, where were the people that are supposedly waiting all day to fucking see you? Isn't that the thing? Shouldn't it be packed? How would you even know that there was one Haley person there unless there was barely anyone around? Yeah? All right. That part confused me. He told this story a bunch. It's just so fucking lame. Hold on one second. There we go. So let's go here back to this guy right there. Excellent. And yeah, and also deflating, aging at a rapid rate. Look at that. Woof. I mean, you're gonna make so much of a case that, that Biden's aged or that he's old or lost a step. Holy shit. Trump is a goddamn mess, and he's like half the energy. Like he halves his energy by the day. He's like a decaying isotope. All right, let me grab. One more thing, and we'll go to this. And I don't know.
See veterans here of the political persecution.
Wait a minute.
Our constant talk here that will the Marxist den.
Okay, hold on. This whole fucking thing can't be this quiet. Okay, so Lou Dobbs interviewed Trump for Bannon's War Room, and he's on. Lou Dobbs is now on Lindell TV, on the Bannon War Room thing through there or whatever. But listen to the audio on this.
Give us a sense of how you feel right now, and what your sense is of this country that will permit such an outrage.
Here's a good idea. Maybe, I don't know, put 2 fucking mics on that goddamn table, which has nothing on it, so that we can hear you, because that's the room mic on the camera, you cheap motherfucker. There's no, I mean, maybe there's a lav on him and they only had one, so let's hear.
So I don't think there's ever been a time like this.
Yeah, he's got a lav on. Lou doesn't.
I think we're very close to.
And even then, it's still super fucking quiet.
Being at the end of our country as we knew
it. All right. I'm gonna have to like download this fucking thing and boost it. That's the only way we're gonna be able to even listen. Holy shit.
Great country. It's Marxist, it's fascist, it's communist. It's what they're doing is incredible. What they've done with weaponization of DOJ, FBI, and others.
And others also. It's like, again, this is like maggot refrigerator poetry, and he just like tripped and spilled the box, and the floor is magnetic. Everything's just stuck. And he's like, fuck. I'll just say the words Marxist, incredible, what they're doing, and like no one's ever seen before.
All sort of reporting up. If it's communist, it's what they're doing is incredible. What they've done with weaponization of DOJ, FBI, and others. All sort of reporting up.
All sort of reporting up. I honestly don't even know. I know for a fact Lou Dobbs doesn't know what the fuck he just said. He couldn't even bring himself to just kind of nod complacently. Just,
if it's a local DA or a attorney general, a state attorney general. I think it's a very dangerous time. The hope is 2024, because if we win, we're going to get that straightened out so fast, because it's all people. It's the people from the top.
It is the people from the
top.
Very
dangerous time for our country. I really believe that. Then we have the wall where millions and millions of people are pouring into our country. We have
Yes, the wall. I blame the wall too. It's weird.
The most incompetent president we've ever had, has no idea what's going on in the world, has no respect from the world. And numerous countries are coming up with nuclear weapons, which is the real global
They're coming up with nuclear weapons. They're just inventing them. That's
warming
weird.
threat. Not the ocean will rise over the next 400 years by an eighth of an inch.
Yeah, the real global warming is nuclear warming.
And I think the country's in trouble. I think it's the most dangerous time in the history of our country. And a lot of that is weaponization, but a lot of that is real lot of that is nuclear weapons.
A real lot of that. Yeah, I would think so. A real lot. A real lot.
I think that we were respected with me.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. So it's super quiet. I don't know. I'll try and find this one later. Maybe we can do it tomorrow. CSL, we'll try and dig up the version, or we'll have to I'll download it and we'll have to I'll just boost the audio. Yeah. Yike.
We had tremendous control of things.
We had tremendous control of things. Fuck off. Oh God. Anyways, I'm an hour over anyways, but I appreciate you guys for hanging in there. Especially after my power outage. That said, I'll see if I can find a way to boost the audio on that somehow, because holy shit. I guess that's a Rumble problem. Is Rumble just ass? Is that what it is? I don't know. Either way, I would like to say thank you guys for joining me, and I think I will. Thank you guys for joining me. See how easy that is? I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Everybody, thank you for being here. I've always wanted to do that. And say I'd like to again. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. I'm gonna go see if I can make sure my lights don't go out. Shit. Scared to push this button now. What happens?